Hey, it's Steve here at the DJ Lab, taking a look at the Denon DJ SC Live 4 up against the Denon DJ Prime 4. Now, don't get all crazy on me. This was not meant to replace the Prime 4. The Prime 4 is still the king. It's still got the better build quality and all the extras. And we're going to go over all that stuff. And you're going to find out why. I'm totally recommending an SC Live 4 for a lot of people. So let me go over some real quick details right off the bat. Number one, this thing has built-in speakers. It's the first thing you notice. A lot of people say, why would you bother, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? They sound really good. You know what I mean? You're not going to go DJ an event with it, but for sitting at home, in your living room, dining room, kitchen, wherever you want to sit this thing down, because you just need power. Just sit it down somewhere, plug it in, put it on your lap even, and these speakers sound really nice. And the bass resonates. It doesn't really rattle. It resonates through the whole system. So even when you're touching it, man, you're feeling the music. So right off the bat, speakers is definitely a plus for me. Screen size, well, you're going to lose some real estate. That screen is much bigger than this one. It doesn't tilt. This is the size of the Denon DJ Go, but it's good enough. You know what I mean? It doesn't really take away from the experience. And this is what I'm talking about. It's the experience. You know, when I run on like XDJ-XZ versus this, for instance, this feels a little bit more fun, if that makes any sense. Like the workflow, things just kind of, it's fun. I have access to streaming music, etc. And then when I jump on here, honest to God, the feeling of playing doesn't actually change from using this one to this one. I don't feel like I took this huge step down like you would think. You know what I mean? People talk, well, it's plastic, blah, blah, blah. Plastic, that's hard, man. Like, hear that? Metal? That's me banging on it. You shouldn't be banging on your stuff like that. You know what I mean? But then you can't tell in the video probably. Maybe the light can pick up. You see, it's almost like a brushed texture. Like that brushed metal. But it's plastic. But it's good plastic. You know what I mean? Tractor S4 was plastic. The S8 was plastic. Nobody had a problem with that. And it was worth a lot of money. This feels good. The jog wheels feel great. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like I'm in a blind taste test or touch test. Touch test. You would know the difference ever so slightly. It's not huge. Pitch faders feel great. I never really did like the silver pitch faders, so I'm glad they stuck to black. You know, of course, this is brand new. This is old as hell. And you know what? It doesn't feel miles different. Even the crossfader here, you know, it's user replaceable, obviously. This one's not, but you know what? This one feels a little cheaper. I'm not going to lie. But, you know, I'm not a crossfader guy. I'm not a scratch guy. So it doesn't matter. This has 4 decks as well. I don't like the fact, I've said this before, about there's no color indicator on the wheel within the deck. The deck light change colors, for instance. You know what I mean? They could have made this a little better, but I get it. You know, you had to cheap out somewhere, right? The display's nice and bright. The pads feel good. Obviously, they're smaller. You know, this, for turn on the effects, is a little bit clunky. I'm not like a giant fan of that. But overall, I do like the layout of where the effects are versus messing around at the top. I really hardly used effects on the Prime 4 because they're kind of out of the way. I would use the sweep effects because they were easy to get to. And sweep effects is still doesn't feel bad that I got to go over here. Same feeling. Everything feels good. Some other things you might not know about is when we go into the settings here and we go into the mic auxiliary, we do have 2 mic inputs on this thing and an auxiliary input. And you actually have EQ control over each microphone and the auxiliary. You can do on the auxiliary, you can do yeah, it's 3-band as well too. Treble, mid, bass, right? So that's really cool because up here we have the EQ controls for your mic, but when it comes to the auxiliary on this, yeah, that's right. This thing doesn't have an auxiliary. Yeah, I have to take a quick look because it's like, yeah, I don't think it did. You just literally used up one of the channels. So just take another double look. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe there is an auxiliary. So you got your 4 decks. Here you got 4 decks, plus you have an auxiliary, and it's an EQ'd auxiliary. So this is really cool because one thing you could do is, for instance, run an MPC. Like I was the MPC one. Hook that to the auxiliary. Use your Ableton link over Wi-Fi. Or you don't even need Wi-Fi. If you're using an MPC-1, you can take an Ethernet cable, go from the link to the link, and Ableton will link them up. The Ableton link will link it, and you got your 4 decks of music, plus your MPC running through, and you got it EQ'd nice to sound good. So, once again, that's a bit of a plus here, right? Where here you're going to lose a channel if you want to hook that up. We have XLRs on the back. Got SD card in this thing. It doesn't have, you don't have an SSD drive inside like you do this one, which I don't really use anyways now because I have all the access to the streaming music. That's kind of the beauty of these systems, is streaming. And speaking of streaming, this one here, obviously, if you've been following along and you know anything about this system, it has Amazon Music because it has a special chip for all the DRM copyright protection stuff on their stuff, which means also as well that with Amazon, you can stream some high-end FLAC stuff, but you can only do 2 channels. You can't do 4 decks of Amazon. You can only load 2 tracks at a time. But you could jump over to Beatport Link, load up the other 2, and go back and forth. But, you know, it's a little bit of a jump going around. And I guess you could make a prepare list from the 2. I haven't tried it. That'll be another video perhaps. Over here, we don't have Amazon streaming, and we're not going to be able to get it because the chipset is different. What's different about it? Who knows? I'm sure that's some inside deep dark secret that only like 5 people on the planet know about. Other than that, I'm saying, build quality wise, this does not feel dirt cheap like everybody's talking. Everyone was on the forums saying, oh, don't talk about these 2 because this thing's so cheap. Compare it to something else. I don't want to compare it to something else. This is the Prime family. And, well, not technically, you know, because they got rid of Prime. You notice that? Denon DJ Prime 4. But you got the Denon DJ SC 6000s, SC 5000, and now you got like a SC Live 4, SC Live 2. So, yeah, maybe they're dropping the Prime part of it. Anyways, it's still part of the whole lineup. Doesn't really matter. And this thing also runs Virtual DJ 2023 perfectly fine. It runs the new Serato perfectly fine. Even the Serato Beta runs perfectly fine on this thing, as well as the Prime 4 does too. So if you've got the money and the space, obviously, sure, go with the Prime 4. I'm not saying don't buy one of these, but the onboard speakers are really cool, and it is cheaper. You know what I mean? It's lighter. It's easier to get around. It still has XLR connections for using it in a professional setting. I have nothing bad to say about this thing. I wasn't even looking forward to seeing this thing. I thought, I don't care. And then I get it here, and it's like, it's really cool. I have been having a lot of fun with it. Anyway, sorry for the long video. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the alert button. Leave your comments. Let me know what you think. And don't be hating on this thing, man. If you've got a Prime 4, you're golden. You don't need this. But some guys have a Prime 4 and they want a secondary lighter system to take out. This is the one. Talk to you all soon.